Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome to Morning Spring here at Western Spring Television, channel 190 on the Star Times DTT. And also, we are beaming live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Femi Ojo is my name. This is where we talk about everything important issues, especially for the public good. That's what we do here, having this conversation, speaking to everybody that matters in these issues. That's what we do here, and it's geared towards having a better and a functional Nigeria. I'm not here alone. Evelyn's here. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi. How do you do today?
Is a baby one today.
Welcome on board, people. It's the 4th day, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. In the month of April 2024, we are indeed grateful to God for life. It's another day to be grateful, another day to be alive, another day to make it count. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Thank you so much for joining us, always adding us to your morning routine. We appreciate you.
That's right. And this morning, we are going to move very fastly. Many things to talk about. As you know, the pages of newspaper usually look at the headlines. Now, major dailies, the papers are in, and of course, it's quite a unique one because we have Evangelist Ladeji here, a crusader, a public affairs analyst, of course. But let me put it plain so that we don't waste time. Ladeji Alabi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Good morning,
good morning,
Evelyn,
the pinky lady. It's a pleasure to be on the show again today.
Thank you very, very much. And yes, we have the Guardian, the Nation newspaper here. The Punch is here as well as the Daily Independent. But before we go straight to the papers, Ladeji, part of what the papers reported yesterday, maybe we don't have on the front page here, is that sad incident that happened in Elisha, that involved 2 persons. One of them, we can confirm, is a staffer of the University of Elisha. She closed from what she was going on. An articulated vehicle was coming, lost balance, and the truck, heavy-duty truck, fell on her car. Passenger, fortunately escaped, but she couldn't escape. But the news is not even that the thing fell on her car. It was that she didn't give up immediately. We learned she was there, still breathing for like 1 or 2 hours. There was no help inside. Not because people were not there, LADG. People were there, but the heavy-duty car, truck was too heavy. They were just going around, moving in circles till the woman died. Before help could come, crane could come, they passed out.
Femi.
She passed away, rather.
That incident yesterday showed another failure of the Nigerian system. It showed how unserious we are as a nation, showed how we are the giant of Africa on paper, but in reality, we are nowhere near gianthood.
How do you mean?
Thank you, Femi. I will quickly give you about 2 or 3 examples of incidents that have happened and help never came. And I'll come back to this woman's case.
Yeah.
A few years ago in this same Osogbo, about 10 years ago, a church caught fire in the middle of the night. Let me throughout Oshun, both the fire station in Osogbo, the one at the government office, the one in Nede, the one in Elisha, all of them couldn't come to rescue of that church. And a church that was built with stone came down flat. You know what it meant? That a church built with stone, not blocks, not bricks now, came down flat. In Abuja, I was in Abuja about 2 years ago for a program, and a friend that came to pick me at the airport drove me through the this Nest Cash and Carry mall. It was around that time that the mall had a fire incident. In the whole of Abuja, Federal Capital Territory, there was no help. When the fire service built by the owner of that business exhausted what they had, they looked for help elsewhere. He couldn't come.
All right.
And that business went down also. You can go on and on and on and mention and give examples. Now, this incident happened at about 4 p.m. yesterday because the first reports that we got from an eyewitness came on social media around 4:18 p.m. 4:18 p.m. That was the first tweet. The person said, we need help urgently around University of Elisha Road. There is an incident. And the person came back an hour later. Now, the person said at that time that the woman inside the car is still breathing. If they can get a help, maybe she would leave. But an hour later, he came back to say they are still there, no help in sight. And about 2 or 3 hours later, he tweeted that they've been able to, you know what it took, you know how many people it would take to offload an articulated vehicle and, you know, bring out the woman. But unfortunately, they brought out a lifeless body.
It's a sad incident, but, you know, if time permits, we'll get to talk about this, you know, in the course of the program. We're trying to reach out to interested parties, especially eyewitnesses that are there at that incident. It was quite a sad incident. Many persons said it could have been preventable, or the situation could have been salvaged if actually there was help. And he's talking about systemic failure. But then let's look at what the papers are saying right now. In the course of the program, just like I said, producers are working to get an hang of people that are involved in this matter. We want this break. We'll be back. All right, the paper that I'm starting with here today will be the Daily Independent. Outrage greets federal government's more than 300% electricity tariff hike. Nigerian bureaus to raise 600 billion by right issue. CSOs back Serap ask governance to account for 5.9 trillion naira and $4.6 billion loans. And Okwama killings. Sponsors of oil theft behind soldiers' massacre are achieved. Tinubu signs amended student loan 2024 bill into law. Months former Labour leader Lee Chiroma and Lagos police bust kidnappers, then rescue 2 victims. Impeachment panel overrules Shaibu. Adjourned sitting to today. Old Mutual Nigeria sells 100% of insurance business to Ample Group, and top strip Rivers Peace Pact. I will surprise you. Fubara wants political opponent. We'll get to speak about that in the course of the program. Embattled Labour Party national chairman escaped assassination. Residents burnt at 1 a.m. as Abure family slept. Interesting, awkward one, by the way. Ladiji, outrage greets federal government's more than 300% electricity tariff hike. It is happening. We spoke about it weeks ago. The IMF suggestions, you know, the nation spoke, but then here we are at this time. We learned people on band A are the ones that are being affected by this, not all the bands. Ladiji, quickly.
Femi, in reality, band A, band B, whatever, I think I spoke about this a few days ago that most of these bands are just
and according to the NERC, band A are the guys who enjoys
18 hours,
20 hours
20
per
hours.
day.
But in reality, it is difficult to get those guys that spend. Now, somebody was analyzing one of the particular areas in Oshogbo where he lives. They are on band A. However, he said he only enjoyed light in their house less than 8 hours a day. And because, okay, maybe about 10 hours in a day. And that's because, you know, the place is banking area. So they said the banks have an agreement with the electricity suppliers. They give them light between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. And they take it off. Maybe they bring it back in the middle of the night.
That's band A light.
Band A light. And these are the people you make pay high. And, you know, electricity is meant to be a social contract between government and the people. Electricity is as important as water. Because we literally cannot run our system without good electricity. We have a failed system that is not giving good electricity to the people. And here we are increasing. It doesn't make any sense to me that a minister got to the office as a minister of power and is not thinking about adding value. I've said it times without number that this guy will not think about value. He will think about generation of fund for the government. And we have seen it in action. Why? He went to soldier barracks to go and sell meters to them. All they are trying to do is give out more meters. What do you mean? What do you get to see about that? More money from meters, more money from people buying power, and now you are increasing the tariff. What have we done to power generation increments?
But it's only for Band A.
Femi, Band A or no Band A, we live in. Check what you bought last month. I don't know if the area you live is categorized as Band A or Band B. These are just, nomenclatures we give to these people just to exploit Nigerians. I can tell you for free. Femi, go to the GRA. Now, just recently, they brought out the statistic. Aso Rock is owing. National headquarters of the army is owing. INEC, with the humongous amounts we budget for them every year for election, they are owing. And these are the people you will tell me around them.
They have paid.
All of them have paid. Is it all of them? Can you confirm that all of them have paid?
I can't.
It is just the first thing. Before you say you want to increase the electricity tariff or bill, add value. What have you done? Adelabu has not added 1 megahertz to what we are generating, but you are adding more than 300% increment. If Nigerians are not angry at this time, then I give up that we are good at, just being pushed.
You shouldn't give up. It's the renewed hope era. Evelyn.
All right, we move over to the Guardian newspaper at this time. On the Guardian newspaper, 2 million households to pay 225 naira per kilowatt as prepaid meter may hit 300,000 naira. That's you have the details, some statistics there, figures on the front page of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Increases in meter prices between 2013 and 2014, and you can see all the details there. I may not be able to go through all of that at this time, but then moving on. NCS records 1.3 trillion naira revenue in Q1 2024, detains 22 suspects in 4 months, and man nabbed over alleged abduction of housewife for sexual pleasure in Osun. All right, and moving on from that, transparency eligibility concerns unsettle new attempt at student loan scheme. And Barr reportedly escapes assassination home gutted. Tinubu Zulum Buni Mon NLC ex-leader Chiroma and FGD cries rising abscondment by varsity teachers. It's the nomenclature for me, abscondment. Okay. 5 years after USSD debt conflict still unresolved. And African Games, how Ghana 2024 exposed Nigeria's weak underbelly in sports development. And you can get that story on the news analysis page 4. I'm going to take a Ladeji on what's currently happening in the Labour Party. It seems there's so much drama going on in Labour Party, especially with its leadership. Some people want Abure there. Some people do not want Abure there. Abure is insisting that he is the leader of the party. The convention, there were controversies surrounding the convention that happened in the month of March. Your take very quickly.
I still stand on my take that Labour Party, the last few months have shown that they don't look like it's a departure from what we used to know. Because these are characteristics of the old order. The APC, the the APC and the PDP. These are when we get to see violence. When Peter Obi moved to Labour Party, a lot of people felt, okay, so maybe this party would be a party that will give us, something different. A breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air compared to what we used to. Because if you grow up, following Nigerian politics, what you used to know is violence. Oh, they attacked this man today, they attacked this man then, you go to campaign in this village. As a matter of fact, at a particular time in Osho, they will tell you there are some places that a member of this political party cannot go and campaign because it is a stronghold of other political parties, and if you go there, you get beaten up. But we thought it was going to be a clear difference. But I think the reality that is showing now is that even though there might be some couple of people that looks like they want a serious change from the, or a serious departure from what used to be, but in terms of leadership, in terms of orientation, I think a couple of guys are still in Labour Party that felt, okay, so it should be me, myself, and I. It should be my pocket first. It's clearly obvious now that a couple of guys, maybe they change, they moved camp, but in them has not changed. So I just feel, in reality, again, all we can do is to, just advise Labour Party that they should put their house in order. See, yes, you can say 2027 is far, but in politics, every minute counts. If you are not getting to do, at this time, if you want to make a statement in the 2027 election, you should be showing the attitude of a serious opposition party. PDP is not really showing that. PDP is also having their own internal crisis, but Labour Party should be able to put our house in order and possibly give APC, because I trust APC very well. They are good at playing the game of opposition. If it was Labour Party or PDP in government, they won't have it easy like this. I trust APC guys. They are good at using the instrument of propaganda. Even while they are in government, they are good at using the instrument of propaganda.
Two questions.
Labour Party needs to put a house in order.
Two questions, Ladeji. Doesn't this show that it is our characteristics as a people? It's not really about the party, but the people that make up the party. And by extension, when we talk about Nigeria not making progress, don't you think it's the makeup of we the people in the country that made Nigeria the way it is? So I'm just using that as an extension to the country. And secondly, do you think this may probably push Peter Obi out of the party to look for probably another party, maybe create his own party, so he can, continue his ambition?
Well, first, men are necessarily a product of their environment.
All right.
You ask yourself this question. While we're growing up, we grew up to shouting up NEPA. But you wonder now that many of us are giving back to children. A child of 2-year, 3-year-old will shout up NEPA when light comes. Who taught him or her that? It is a systemic failure. Now, if there are systems to check, somebody was mentioning before election, when some people were saying, no, Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not really that very healthy, they should look for. Somebody made a case, he said, a president govern America on wheelchair. And my argument against him was that even if you put a baby in White House in America, there is a system to check him. Donald Trump tried to, bastardize the system when he became the president, you remember. But because you have people that are loyal to the Constitution of America, you have people that are loyal to the system in America. That is why his vice, Mike Pence, said, I would rather stand with American Constitution than stand with you. But in Nigeria, because we don't have a system to check people, we just do things as a means of, so people, anything goes. People do things the way they like. I just feel, then for Peter Obi, I really don't know what would be in his mind. I know a lot of his followers, obedience, have been shouting, let's go and create our own political party.
Do you think it would be wise for him to, decamp at this time or leave Labour Party to create a new party?
Well, if Labour Party is not putting a house in order, in fairness, I think it will be wise for him. Or I know there are talks of merger between, himself, Kwankwaso, and Atiku Abubakar. If Labour Party is looking like a place that will not host him well, because if the party is not placed in order, it will send the signal to a couple of people and tell you a party that is not that serious, why do you want to vote them?
Okay. Thank you so much, Ladeji. That will be all from The Guardian.
All right. Quickly, let's see what the Punch has for us. The Punch newspaper. Electricity supply, manufacturers, labor tackle federal government over 240 tariff hike, insist on subsidy. And couple of riders, 240% hike affects customers enjoying 20-hour supply. Band B to E customers get subsidy. Okay, maybe there's an update to say this tariff has to do with people with 24 hours supply. Band B to E are getting subsidy. All right, a new tariff will send manufacturers out of business, worsen inflation, say labor OPS. U.S. offer help as 9 die, 1,000 injured in Taiwan earthquake. It's a very sad one for them. See the buildings, a very tall, high-rise building tilting, towards falling. But then thought and prayers are with them there. Odike Abiodun Hill Ebenezer will be at its 2nd birthday Thanksgiving. That's a veteran there, living legend. Federal government reopens Third Mainland Bridge last month once again speeding. Transcorp pre-tax profit jumps by 93%. Student loan. Federal government plans pilot scheme for public institutions. Steady dollar supply pushes Naira to 1,262 per dollar. Customs Q1 revenue surpasses 1 trillion Naira. Rise tops 10 billion seizures. Ladiji, we have to pause at this point, but 15 seconds. The president has signed a student loan bill, and we are learning that they are planning the pilot scheme for public institutions. 15 seconds, yeah.
Well, finally, what we can do is to hope that this gets to be fully implemented. Yeah. But it's still, I still get to ask the question: what was the total budget for the student loan? 5 billion for the year 2024. What would that cater for? How much did we budget for other unnecessary things?
There's always a place to start, isn't it?
No. Femi, it shows our priority. Okay. I won't take it that there's always a place to start.
But I think there was a time that the purported yacht that was bought, the money was now,
Femi, that yacht has been bought already.
Yeah.
It has been bought already. So it is already in Nigeria. They may not even just show you that your president is catching cruise on it.
All right, that is, we'll take a pause now, all of us, even including Ladeji. You might get to see him later in the course of the show. When we come back, we speak about what is happening in River State. The governor is talking tough and say, don't try me. I'm in charge here. And of course, I have surprise in the offing for you. We'll look into different angles of that conversation. That will be after now. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back, and we take a flight now straight to Port Harcourt, the River State, where the AIMS man, the man in charge at this time, Governor Fubara, spoke yesterday while addressing an audience, and he spoke tough. And many persons were thinking, okay, maybe this is another personality of the governor that people are yet to see when he talked of, and he spoke about the peace pact that was agreed between him, his camp, and the camp of the erstwhile governor, who is the minister of the FCT, former Governor Chetam Nwala, when there was an issue. Of course, there is an issue, obviously, now, but they were called together. There was a peace pact arrangement, and he signed, critical stakeholders signed, and he said, many persons have criticized him, by the way, to say, why will he agree that he only respects the president as the father of the nation? It is not a constitutional, agreement. It is a political arrangement, and that he, out of respect for the president, he has been following it, but it should not be taken as a weakling. His gentleness, the way he has gone about it, should not be taken as him being a weakling, that he has a prize for anybody that might think he doesn't know what he's doing. We are being joined this morning by Special Assistant on New Media, Honorable Bernard Odike, and of course we'll be joined again by critical stakeholder in the state. Honorable Odike, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Mr. Femi.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, very quickly, before we dive right into the conversation, we would like our viewers to hear and see what Governor Fubara said yesterday. Please hold on.
Mr. President invited all the parties to Abuja and came out with a resolution that we should go and implement. That resolution, I'm implementing it. It's not a constitutional implementation. It's a political solution to a problem. And I'm doing it because of the respect I have for Mr. President. But let me say it here. If that's action that I've accepted to follow will be taken for my weakness, I will surprise them. I want this message to go to them. And I believe you know what I mean.
All right, I will surprise them, take the message to them. Those are the words of Governor Fubara. Honorable Odike, your principal spoke in a manner that is quite strong and very firm. We would have thought there is an end in sight to all those imbroglio, that maybe peace has reigned, but it seems all is not well yet, especially with this choice of words and the tone of his message. Has everything broken down again?
Well, I'll start from the statement of it seems that all is not well. I would rather say that all is well. You know, it's a case of a society where a rule of law, you know, should dictate how everyone goes about his or her activities, whether private or institution or whatever you call it. You know, like you heard the governor say clearly, you know, some people are beginning to misconstrue his gentleman nature to mean weakness. Everybody knows that in Nigeria, a sitting governor is so very powerful. Well, but the governor here had really, you know, behaved so gentlemanly and not really wielding power. He's not power drunk. He's a service-oriented, people-oriented. He wants to do things, you know, in a very civil manner and, you know, shifting away from the usual, you know, military kind of way that we have been known for in this country. You know, so what's there is that, like he has said, the peace pact that was, you know, mediated by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the governor had been implementing that peace pact. And yet some people feel that, you know, maybe, I don't know, especially the people supporting the SY Minister of Federal Capital Territory, who was, the SY Governor of Rivers State, who is presently the Governor of the the Minister of the FCT. You know, the other day you had the SY, I will call them SY because that's the position of the Constitution according to Section 1091G. This man ceased to be legitimate legislators in the Rivers State House of Assembly by virtue of their deliberate action with regards to the Constitution of the Federal Republic. They vacated their seats by virtue of their defection to another party, where the party by which they were elected into that house does not have any form of division, or did the party go into any merger with any other party or other political parties. So the law is clear. When you take such a decision, it means you have vacated your seats. You know, and somehow, based on the presidential pact, you know, though there are litigations here and there by different individuals on that, which is still ongoing and so on and so forth, you know, they came up the other day to threaten that, you know, they could, that they will be left with no other option but to proceed with impeachment process against the governor. You know, begin to imagine that the governor has refused to the peace pact or whatever, and that's not true. And the president, and even the so-called caretaker chairman of Rivers APC, Tony Okocha, usually I call the APC in Rivers State, presently, I used to call it, before now I used to call them ragtag remnant Rivers APC, but presently I call them tattered remnant, ragtag remnant Rivers APC, factional caretaker chairman, Tony Okocha, you know, every day coming on to vituperate against the governor and say all manner of things, you know, and then try to make it look as if the governor is not obeying the peace pact or something, and try to talk anyhow. And the governor came out openly to say, look, don't take my gentleman nature for weakness. And he has said it and he meant it. We dare them, even we as Rivers people, dare them to try anything. We're not going to do anything unlawful, but we'll let them know that the people own the power. That's the situation in Rivers State.
All right.
And the governor knows the people are with the governor. We're not going to do anything unconstitutional. We are going to take every constitutional means to ensure they don't, you know, take over the power. The power to put the governor there was given by the people.
All right.
And a few rascals cannot take away that power. We are still, the people are mounting and they are with it. They will take it up with them, whichever way they want it. We are with the governor, and he knows. We are with him. We have told him to stand strong. We are with him.
All right.
The people are with him.
All right, Honorable. By the way, that's a strong use of words, calling those people, timing them to be rascals. By the way, let's watch the use of words. But we have been told that we have been joined by Chetam Nwala. He's an activist, of course, a lawyer, and an Africanist. Chetam, thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me once again.
All right, thank you. Please hold on. I'd like to go back to Honorable Odike before my colleague will come in. You know, Honorable Odike, many persons will say that when that peace pact was signed, and the analysts, people of good wishes, saw the agreement, many persons saw it as this is lopsided. This agreement that was signed by the Rivers State governor, it shows that he might have to play catch-up, he might have to be subservient to some certain interests because of the nature of those agreements, that inasmuch he has put pen to paper and agreed to that, he might just be grappling with issues for the rest of his tenure. Now he's speaking out and he's talking tough to say, don't take my gentleness for being a weakling. I have a surprise in the offing. Honorable Odike, many persons will say your principal saw it coming and he agreed.
Yeah, like the governor said, he only, you know, agreed to go into that peace pact out of respect he has for Mr. President.
But it seems the respect he has for the president that made him agree is not working for him. He's playing catch-up in his own administration.
No. The issue is, like some people would ask, if people on the side of House of Assembly guys, the so-called APC caretaker chairman, if they feel that the governor has reneged in the implementation of that agreement. Okay, it was said that it was an agreement that was put forward by the president. Are you getting me? As a father. Now, if they are parties to that matter, if they feel that the governor has failed to implement the peace pact, are you getting me?
Yes.
What they ought to do, the reasonable thing for every reasonable human being to do, is to go back to the Mr. President to say, look, this thing is not being followed through. They should take back the complaint. It is not in their own place. It's like somebody not trying to, you know, help himself outside the person who is helping you. For instance, like, you know, those things like you mentioned and has rightly been seen, are not constitutionally based, but just for peace to reign in the place. An agreement was reached. And if you feel as a party that, you know, it is not being followed, what you do is to go back to the mediator. Go back to the mediator and not to begin to like take fights to the other party, which is wrong. And that's why the governor has replied them that they should not take his gentleman nature for weakness. He did that thing he did for the respect he has for the president.
All right, Honorable Odike, if the governor did what he did out of respect for the president, then why is it so hard for him to actually carry out or obey all the 8-point directive on that resolution?
He's implementing the peace pact. You know, as you know, there are some issues which are subject to litigation as we speak. Some of those the governor may not have any hand in those litigation, but they are subject to litigation. So why not these people wait and allow these things to run through? Why not trying to make it look as if they are the ones coercing the governor, or they want to coerce the governor to do their wish? For instance, in that agreement that included local government election, was issue of local government election an issue? To tell you how people, you know, they just went and put in that there. Was the issue of local government election an issue, ab initio? It was not.
All right.
It was not.
Okay, we'll definitely come back to you, but then I'd like to move to Barrister Nwala at this time. What do you make? I mean, you are also a stakeholder when it comes to Rivers State. What do you make of this situation going on in your state at this time?
Thank you once again for having me. I must say that for me, if you observe for a while, I've been so quiet about the happenings in the States, and that quietness was born out of necessity and the importance of being quiet on some of these issues, because, you know, you cannot subject yourself to illegality and at the end of the day you start crying foul and crying wolves out of it. And on this your studio, I categorically stated that the agreement entered by the governor with the Ohiolei faction and the president was illegal, and the governor had no powers at any point in time, or had no obligation obeying those agreements, because it was just a friendly advice between the governor and the people he entered that agreement with. So the governor was not under any obligation to obey any part of that agreement.
But he said he did it out of respect for Mr. President and for peace to reign in the state.
Yes. However, if the governor had decided to implement those agreements he had with the president as against the rule of law, as against the established laws in our states, then some of us have no need actually putting our voice and actually urging him on to continue. Because you cannot damn the laws of the state, you cannot damn the laws of the land for a political solution and say the law should go, because the truth of the matter is that these men are no longer members of the House of Assembly. They have ceased to be members of the House of Assembly, yet you pay them salaries, yet you recognize them as members of the House of Assembly. Yet you still support them and you still recognize them. So if you recognize them and they make laws, bring the laws for you to assent, you refuse to assent the laws. But the point is, you are still recognizing these men as members of the House of Assembly, when in the eyes of the law, these men are no longer members of the House of Assembly. So when people subject themselves to a particular situation, I do not think that it is wise to cherry pick. If you have subjected yourself to the agreement you have signed with the president and co, it is not your duty to come and cherry pick which you should do and which you should not do, because you actually damn the interest of Rivers people. You didn't actually look out for the interest of Rivers people when carrying that particular action. You didn't also look at the rule of law. For goodness sake, I'm a lawyer, and it is my own duty as a person to protect the laws of this particular land we find ourselves. So if a governor decides at any point in time to say, I am damning the consequences, I am damning whatever the law says, I am going to follow a political solution as against a legal solution that is on ground, that is clear and that is obvious, then what do you expect some of us to do at this point? So I feel that the current crisis right now would have ordinarily been avoided if the governor has stood his ground. But the governor decided not to stand his ground. He decided to play to the gallery and get whatever he feels he can get at the end of the day from the entire process.
All right,
because there were speculations that if he didn't sign that, he would have been removed as governor and all that. Let me ask you, the interest of Governor Fubara and the interest and the protection of the laws of the land, which is more paramount? What did he swear to? What did he swear to? He swore to protect the laws of River State and the laws of Nigeria. And today, he is not protecting that law by recognizing this man. And that is why the crisis has deepened to the extent it has deepened. So the current crisis, for me, I feel the governor actually considered to it. The governor accepted it. The governor wanted it. And that is why we are having this current crisis. Else, this whole thing would have been avoided.
All right. Honorable Odike, if I can have you on. You heard what Chetam Nwala said, that the decision of the governor to actually put a pen, his signature on that particular document, makes him bound to that resolution, to obey all the 8-point resolution made in that peace pact, and he cannot cherry pick. So, and he also made mention that his decision, his choice, to actually sign on that peace pact is a selfish one and not in the interest of the Rivers people, because he swore to protect the interest of the people and also using legal means, not political means. Your reaction to that?
We do say that a leader is like a dustbin. What it means is that a leader can take certain actions, not because it was favorable. You know, when a leader, somebody who is a leader, sees more than those people he's leading, and that's why he can lead them. You know, like Barrister Nwala said, with due respect, the governor is our leader. The level of intelligence report available to him, we don't have it. He doesn't have it. He wouldn't know. Sometimes, like Jonathan said when he was president, his ambition, you know, is not worth any blood shed. And you know that even before the election result was declared, then Jonathan called Buhari to concede defeat and congratulated him. Now, we looked at that situation. Some of us were not happy when that happened. But what do we do? But later we saw the wisdom in it. You know, there would have been, you know, there would have been unavoidable, you know, situations, you know, where there would have been bloodshed here and there. Now, the governor, like he said, that the governor went against the law. No, the governor didn't go against the law anywhere. As I speak to you, like I said earlier, there are legal matters. For instance, the assembly members, they have gone to court in Abuja to shop. Though we know that what the whatever ruling they got from the court in Abuja or courts in Abuja are not, they shouldn't, in fact, they shouldn't even stand. Because there were already earlier rulings here in River State that made it clear that based on their vacation, you know, a new speaker emerged who declared, according to the constitution, who declared their seats vacant.
But the governor has recognized these 27 legislators.
No, we're coming. This man got they got a ruling from, you know, a coordinate court, whether Federal High Court in Abuja also. Okay. You know, giving order that, you know, that this thing, INEC should not conduct any election, that they remain members of the House. Even there's another ruling that said that their remunerations, everything, and their entitlement should be given to them. So what the governor is doing is obeying the law. Ordinarily, with time, these processes will run through. It should move by right. What they should have done if there was a judgment against them was to go to appeal. But they have been doing shopping. I expected Mr. Nwala as a lawyer to talk more on this rather than taking it from an angle and trying to blame the governor. The governor is only obeying the law. So obeying the law in those aspects. Those men, they craftily went to Abuja, got shopped for a ruling that said, look, pay them the entitlement. There's a ruling like that. There's the ruling that said, don't, that they remain members of the house. The governor should not interfere, whatever, and so on and so forth. Will the governor now go against the ruling of court and begin to act otherwise? No. So what the governor is doing in line with that agreement is based on the law. Okay, it's based on the law, and the Rivers people, they understand. Majority of Rivers people understand, and I want to implore my brother, Mr. Nwala, a lawyer, to not begin to feel that, oh, there's nothing we can do. The people are standing strongly with the governor, and they're with him, and they are saying, look, we are with you. Nobody can be able to, wherever you stand is where we stand. Like we said, on the issue of some of the issues, what are the issues that they say that the governor has refused to implement? Those ones are, serious issues. For instance, let them point them out. They have talked about local government election. Wike today, when he was governor from 2015, did caretaker from he had to do caretaker from 2015 to 2018. I was a beneficiary of that local government election. I got elected as a councillor then. Between 2015 to 2018, that was like about 3 years, isn't it, before local government election was conducted. If a governor is there today, for one reason or the other, a RESEC under this present administration has not been able to conduct local government election. Allow it. Wow. That's how people who love peace work. Allow it. The state does not belong to the present crop of local government administrator or whatever they are. If, for any reason, there is, for instance, Tony Okocha, the factional chairman of the caretaker chairman of APC in Rivers State, even went as far as quoting the law. Is this section 135 also, where he said that he was referring it to the country, where if there is war, that the president, having known that election cannot hold, maybe will now inform the National Assembly. Budget?
What about the representation of the 2024 budget?
That's also subject to law too, because the law, it was a law court, that authenticated the speakership of Edesidehie, who presided over the House when the governor presented that budget. These issues are still there. These issues are still there. I'd like
to bring in Barrister Nwala at this time, but before that, are you saying the governor's signature appended on that document was just a pretense, was just a sham? Are you saying the governor deceived Mr. President just to allow peace to reign? Because at the end of the day, he did not agree to those agreements.
No, that's not true. Like the governor said, I'm coming. The governor has not said, I have stopped implementing. The governor said, I am still implementing. He did not say, I have stopped implementing. All right. The issue is, if this party feel that the governor has reneged, like I said earlier, the right thing to do for reasonable and lawful citizens is to go back to the president and say, look, the governor of Rivers State has refused to continue with the implementation. Now, at that point, they should expect another roundtable discussion where the governor will now explain and clarify the issues.
Honorable Odike, please permit me to bring in Barrister Nwala. Barrister Nwala, you read what the special assistant to Governor Fubara, New Media, has said concerning this agreement. What is your take? How do you react to all that he has said?
You might have to unmute.
We need you to unmute your audio.
Sorry. Okay, I will explain something to my brother and friend and also clarify on a particular issue so that everybody understands the background of what we're dealing with. Now, what we have on ground, when this whole crisis started, I was one of the first persons who came out, condemned the act of ex-Governor Wike and Minister Wike today, condemn his act, and also raised up some concerns we felt are not actually good for Rivers State. And we stood solidly behind the governor of the state as against what the minister was doing, because we knew by law and by all standards, even morally, what Wike was doing is wrong, completely wrong. He has led. He should allow the governor to lead, to continue his administration. Now, the matter took a step. What was that step? There were lots of plethora of court matters and all that. The judgment he is referring to was the judgment by Justice Omotosho at the Federal High Court in Abuja, which actually we understood how that judgment came from, how that judgment came, how they shot for that judgment and got that particular judgment. Some of us also criticized the judgment when the judgment was given, which recognized it. First, that judgment recognized the House of Assembly members. The judgment also went ahead to went ahead to ask the governor to represent the budget to this same House of Assembly, and amidst other things, the judgment actually went ahead. The court actually went ahead to give in favor of the House, this other Matamewuli House of Assembly, led House of Assembly. These were the judgments of that particular court, and the governor and the Rivers State government had the right to appeal that judgment, but failed to appeal that judgment. Some of us were angry, we're not happy with the fact that they failed to appeal that particular judgment because that judgment was reached in bad faith and was not in the best interest. The rule of law was not actually considered in that particular process. I have on several occasions criticized that particular judgment. Now, they failed to appeal that particular judgment because there was an understanding that all matters should be withdrawn and all that, and those matters were withdrawn. That particular matter was abandoned. That particular matter was abandoned and they didn't proceed with it. That being said, they moved forward. They came back to the states, haven't signed that agreement. Like I said, that agreement has no binding in law. It's not bound by it in law. That agreement is not known to any law. It's not under any obligation to obey that agreement. It is not under any obligation. But he chose to obey that agreement with the president. No, and I feel that obeying that agreement with the president is not in the best interest of Rivers people. I keep on saying that. And that if you have found yourself in this circumstance, if you have decided to obey the agreement, what is morally right in the circumstance is that you should obey the agreement to the letter, which includes even the presentation of budgets to the House of Assembly, which you are going to recognize. Which includes it because it's part of the judgment. That is why we have said that that agreement, the obedience of that agreement was wrong ab initio and shouldn't have been considered. But the governor decided otherwise. Now, the truth of the matter is this. You see, I don't enjoy playing politics because I'm not going to say a politician. I like looking at the law as it is. If the law favors the governor, I tell you categorically the law favors the governor. But in this circumstance, the governor, for me, has created this particular situation because this situation was avoidable. Was completely and totally avoidable. But he has created this particular situation by accepting this. And today he wants to cherry pick, he wants to crack the victim. And I feel that if you want to crack the victim, so be it. But you should not do things that is against the rule of law and you expect some of us to applaud you. We will not applaud you. We will not applaud you for it. We stood with him when he was actually in line with the law. Because the minister has no business, again, in Rivers State, if you ask me, has no business in the governance of Rivers State, except maybe attacking project as minister to the state. He has no business in the daily runs of the states. And we have said that on different occasions. But the governor himself must also act within the ambit of the law. If you look at the crisis of Rivers State, and when the moment the governor signed that particular agreement, the morale of most Rivers people dropped. Dropped because some of us became very disappointed with that particular, and when he insisted and said he was going to continue with the obedience of it, some of us actually lost hope in the whole thing. Now, my brother is referring to the ruling that made Edison Ehie Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly. Yes, there was a ruling that recognized Edison Ehie as Speaker. Don't forget, a final judgment in the scale of things, a final judgment is higher than a ruling. Now, there was a ruling that recognized Edison Ehie as Speaker of the House of Assembly. What did Edison Ehie do? And I also argued on this station on one of those occasions, I said, every action taken by Edison Ehie within that time that he was recognized as Speaker of the House of Assembly is still valid in law. It's still valid in law. And it's not unlawful.
All right.
However, if there is a court of competent jurisdiction that has come to say that Elisne here is not speaker, Martha Mehule is speaker, that becomes the law, no matter how bad the law is.
All right.
Because you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand.
All right,
that becomes the law.
Yeah.
Now, in the circumstance, sorry, let me conclude this by thought. In the circumstance that we have.
Okay. Barrister Chetam, if you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Elisne here resigned as Speaker of the House of Assembly, went ahead, the Speaker of the House of Assembly went ahead to become Chief of Staff, withdrew all his matters in court. So the withdrawal of that matter in court immediately invalidates the earlier position given, the earlier ruling given by that court. So the only substituting judgment now in Rivers State is the Justice Omotosho's judgment, which was not appealed by the Rivers State government.
All right.
Which is what some of us are not happy about.
Yeah, Barrister Chetam, before I come to Honorable Odike, are you saying everything playing out right now, we are seeing the dynamics of the State House of Assembly, the suspended lawmakers that were reinstated, the agreements being, followed by the governor, and the intricacies of these things that is becoming uncomfortable for the administration? Are you saying Governor Fubara, by that single agreement of that political solution in Abuja, brought it upon himself and he should bear it? Is that what you're saying?
The governor brought, by accepting the agreement, signing the agreement, and as well following through with some part of the agreement, the governor on his own has decided to jettison whatever he was pursuing, waived his right of appeal. His right of appeal.
All right.
And what these people are relying on is a subsisting court judgment.
All right.
That is what they are relying on to make some of the noise they are making. And the truth of the matter is that whether the judgment was gotten through a kangaroo means, which is the opinion of some of us anyways, it's a judgment of court.
But are you saying
it's supposed to be obeyed?
Are you saying that everything done by the Odike here Parliament before Odike here resigned as the Speaker of the House is null and void?
No. As at the time Edison carried out those actions are legal. To all extent, they are legal, they are recognized by law because he was carrying it under the order of the substituting court.
All right, so
now let me say this.
The 2024 budget of Rivers State is legal.
No, the actions by Elisne here, the presentation of the budget by the governor at the time he presented that budget was legal. But where did the illegality arise? A court of competent jurists, remember, it was a ruling that brought in Edison here as speaker. It was a ruling of course. Now, where we have a divergent view on this whole matter, it's in the position where Edison here, now as speaker, resigned, withdrew his matter, and a court of competent jurisdiction said that the actions, a final judgment, don't forget, it was a final judgment from Justice Omotosho that said the actions of Elisne here as Speaker of Rivers State House of Assembly was illegal. And if a final judgment has declared that the actions of Elisne here was illegal at the time, it becomes illegal until such judgment is vacated on appeal.
Budget?
Yes. So no, including it. That's why I gave. If you follow my progress, you would understand where I'm coming from. I said at the time, those actions we are taking, they were legal, and that was taken before we got the final judgment from Justice Omotosho. When Justice Omotosho's court gave that judgment and said Elisne here was not the legal speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, that became the law. That became the law and should be followed to the letter.
As at today, 4th of April, 2024, is the budget presented to the Odike here-led Parliament Is it, does it stand? That's what I want to know. Does it stand? Yes or no?
The Justice Omotosho's judgment vacated that particular process.
So the governor has to represent the budget.
Part of it was that they should go back and represent that particular represent that particular budget. It was in the Justice Omotosho's judgment.
So the legal thing to do, the legal thing for the governor, for Governor Sim Fubara to do at this time is for him to represent the budget.
Governor Sim Fubara has his lawyers who are supposed to advise him in the legal process. You know, the ground some of us have is that you have a right of appeal on this particular issue. You decided to waive that right. You decided to rely on whatever agreement you had with the president. And some of us have an issue with that.
All right. I just said, Barrister Nwala, you're sort of dodging my question. I need it to be straight and plain. It's yes or no. The 2024 budget that was presented to the Edison Ehie Parliament, you said the law already vacated it, so it's illegal. So at this time, the governor is expected to represent the 2024 budget for it to be legal.
Have you read the Justice Omotosho's judgment?
To the Martin Amawule Parliament, is that what you're saying?
Have you read the Justice Omotosho's judgment? Maybe you would have to look for ways. Read the Justice Omotosho's judgment.
Please, can I say something?
All right, let's move on to...
That's to give you direction.
Okay, let's move over to Honorable Odike.
Yeah, I disagree with Barrister Nwala. You know, a court of, no matter how competent a court is, so long as it is within the same, you know, coordinate or something, or coordinate court of this thing.
Coordinate jurisdiction.
The Omotosho court does not have superiority over the River State High Court, and it's not an appeal court. I'm coming. We are talking about illegality. Whatever Omotosho did was an illegality and cannot be said to override the earlier ruling that was given by the River State High Court. I disagree. Omotosho's court is not a court of appeal to overrule the position of a court of coordinate this thing, jurisdiction. I disagree. It's not true. That cannot be true.
All right. You know, the legal part of this conversation, I'll come to you, Barrister Chetam. But if you can just, I know you have a thought that you want to express. We can just do that in 1 minute before we move ahead.
Let me explain this particular fact clearly. Please, we are dealing with two judgments. We are dealing with two judgments. See, I'm very much interested in the protection of the rule of law.
All right.
I'm very much interested in that. I'm not interested in the politics of Rivers State. In fact, a long time ago, I withdrew myself from whatever they're doing in Rivers State. But I'm interested in the rule of law and how much it is being followed.
Yeah.
Now, a ruling is not a final judgment of court. A final, even if they are courts of coordinate jurisdiction, a final judgment of court has more potency and is higher than a ruling in our scale of preference in the judiciary. Now, what Edison here got was a ruling which was supposed to last for a period of time. After that period of time, that ruling would have been vacated by the court or sustained by the court pending the determination of that particular matter. Now, what Edison went ahead to do, Edison took, and within that period when that ruling subsists, every action taken by Edison was right. But Edison did not follow through with his matter. He withdrew the matter. Edison withdrew the matter. Edison the chief of staff. Now, these people went to court, got a final judgment. A final judgment, which is superior to a ruling of court. Whether they are court of coordinate jurisdiction or not. Edison got these people got a final judgment, and the final judgment also, in whatever guise they got that judgment, attacked the earlier ruling by this by the court by Justice Tanagogo here in Port Harcourt. So at the stage it is right now, and that final judgment was not appealed.
Okay.
And that becomes our problem.
Yeah, Barrister Chetam, I know there is a lot to talk about, but in fact, that's why we urge you here to speak to the law, constitution part of this conversation And even as a human rights activist and a son of the soil, you've been able to say there are many things to talk about. And some of these issues are even in court, in which you won't want to speak further about it beyond here. But then let me go to, please hang on, Barrister Nwala. Let me go to Honorable Odike. Now, you know, as it stands today, with what Governor, your principal, Femi Fubara, said, Honorable Odike, he said, don't let them take my, you know, me complying with this agreement as me being a weakling. I have a surprise for them. Go and tell them, what is this surprise that we're talking about? Because we know what happens in Rivers State. I would like to describe that state as a violence-prone state. But then when leaders speak in this manner, you know some of your followers who love your principle that will run with even what the intention of the governor might not be. So you are the one in the inner circle of the governor. What does it mean by I have a surprise for them? Go and tell them.
Yeah, when I spoke earlier on, I made it clear that the people are with the governor and that the people are standing with him and you know, urging him on to stand firm, that to take every legal means possible to ensure that the fight is won. So those who know the governor know that the governor is not a violent person.
Yeah.
You know, the statement he made that he will surprise them has nothing to do with anything beyond or outside the law.
So in clear terms, you know, what does it mean? In clear terms, what does it mean?
What it simply means is that, what from my own understanding is that every legal means possible. For instance, as I have said earlier on, if the governor has reneged, just as the opposition camp feels to maybe comply with the peace pact mediated by the president, the reasonable thing, the most reasonable thing to do should be to go back to the president and say, see, this party, the governor, has reneged and is no longer carrying on.
Yeah.
The second option left for them is to go to courts and not to be hitting up the polity. And to us, we know they are just trying to. They're just trying to be smart by half.
Yeah. What does your principal mean by half? By that surprise?
They are using threats to maybe get what they feel they want to get.
Yeah.
The governor has not said he has reneged.
Okay.
The governor said he's still implementing. And I have said there earlier on that there are legal implications to some of these things. And the governor is going by it. So if they feel that the governor has, like Barrister Nwala said, that for the governor to have appended his signature means that he has, he's bound to implement. So if anybody feels that the governor has gone contrary to what it ought to be, the best option is we don't need to be going to media to try to hit up the polity. What any reasonable human being should do is to approach the court.
Yeah, a couple of things to look into.
Approach the court of competent jurisdiction and sue.
All right. A couple of things to look into. You have sidestepped my question. You have been speaking about what the opposing camp should do, what they should have done. My question is, your principal talked about the surprise. What is that surprise?
Yes. The surprise is that the law must be followed to the latter.
All right.
What is legit, what is legal will be followed.
All right. What is legal will be followed. And right.
Yes, I think that's what it is. Yeah. What is legal will be followed.
The former governor.
He said, I'm coming. I'm coming. Let's not leave the other clause.
Okay,
I'm coming.
Please.
He said that what he is implementing, the peace pact, is a political solution and not constitutional, and that it was out of respect and for for peace that he entered into that agreement, and that he's implementing it. Now, anybody who feels unsatisfied with what the governor is doing It's not to go on to begin to make noise here and there. What they should do is, if Ameghule even feels that if Ameghule and co still feels that the governor is out of order, then let them go ahead with the impeachment proceedings.
Point noted.
Let them go ahead with the impeachment proceedings.
Point noted and point
see whether it goes through.
Mr. Odike, Honorable Odike, thank you. Point noted and point taken. We are coasting on gradually now. The former governor, yes, on week, a few days spoke about some persons. It termed them expired politicians. And by the way, he was referring to some elders of River State who declared their support for Governor Fubara. In fact, Governor Wike said these are people that didn't support Fubara in the first place. They didn't contribute to his emergence. It was he who did that. All of a sudden, they are supporting, Governor Fubara. He called them, he said, these were his words, the other day, I saw a political conference organized by transitional politicians, political vampires, political buccaneers. He said, do you know who is called an elder statesman? An elder statesman is someone who must have integrity, who must not be here today and be there tomorrow. And, people will say maybe he was talking about Uche Secondus, Abiye Sekibo, and, Sir Celestine Omeya, and someone who have declared their support. And Governor Wike said, where were they for Fubara's emergence? It was he who carried him on his shoulder. How come these people are now showing, support for him, and he called them those names? How is your principal reacting to that? And what has he done? What has he given to them to curry the favor of these people?
Well, we are in a free world where everybody should respect, the ways of life of the other or the others. Wike himself, who is talking, when did he become Tinubu's supporter? Just within a few weeks before the election. Here in Rivers State, we knew that Magnus Abi was the key man. We're talking about support for Tinubu. But Wike came in towards the ending and took advantage of maybe the political indices. And through his weight, we also joined him to support and vote for Tinubu then. So Wike today is benefiting heavily. Right. He's a minister, federal minister, and has been given free hand to operate by Tinubu. So if other people who did not support Sasem, as he said, that no, whether they did, because they did not support Tinubu then. He played anti-party. Let's use that word, anti-party, though we all joined him to do it. The anti-party, yeah. He played anti-party and has benefited from it. Then Wike he does not have the moral justification to condemn somebody or some people who have done the same thing he has done and is enjoying and reaping fruits from.
All right. So
he's not better than them. All right. What he did, what they have done is even better than what he did.
All right. You noted that the former governor did anti-party, and because all of you were in the same camp, then you did anti-party against your party, the PDP. Now that you are standing alone, it seems there are many things to talk about. But as we round off, Barrister Chetam, I'd like to take your parting shot, if you can do that for us in 30 seconds. You have said constitutionally, things are not going right. Governor Fubara brought this upon himself. For people of Rivers State, in which you are one of them, where does this go from here?
I want to, before I respond to that, I want to correct an impression.
We have to do.
I never said Governor Fubara is bound to obey that presidential agreement he had. Okay. I have always said that he is not bound to obey it because it has no legal or no constitutional backing.
All right.
So that my brother Odike would actually understand the position.
All right.
But I am saying that when you decide to forgo the law and decide to do whatever you want to do, and you look at the law, a clearly stated law, you decide to go ahead and use political solution to solve a particular problem, that's morally. Morally, you should be able to continue in that particular light.
Thank you.
And that is why some of us actually withdrew ourselves from the entire process.
All right.
So I would still say this. The governor knows what is right to do legally.
Okay.
He should stick to it.
All right.
And in sticking to it, that is what Rivers people are interested in.
All right.
We're interested in the rule of law being followed. We can run Rivers State as a dictator.
Yeah, we should go now.
Never follow the rule of law in this state.
All right.
So if the governor wants to follow in that same pattern, some of us will have problems with him.
All right. Quickly, 15 seconds. Honorable Odike, your parting shot.
Thank you. I just want to say to the world to know that Rivers State is in safe hands.
All right.
And Rivers State is in peace.
All right.
Forget about what some people are trying to do. You know, like I said, instead of people running to the media to try to heat up the polity, they should either go back to the president and report to him.
All right.
Or they should go to the courts and sue the governor if they feel that the governor has gone contrary to the law or done anything out of order.
Yeah, we are actually out of time. Evelyn, we must go.
Yes, we must go, but we have to thank those that have actually dedicated their time to speak with us this morning. We had with us this morning Honorable Bernard Odike, Special Assistant to Governor Fubara on new media. Thank you for your time this morning, Honorable Odike. And of course, we also had with us this morning Barrister Chetam Nwala, who is an activist, is a legal practitioner, and is a Pan-Africanist. Thank you so much for your time and for your submissions this morning, Barrister Nwala.
Thank you for the privilege of having me.
All right. And that's the size of the show this morning, Femi. I mean, it's a whole lot happening in Rivers State, and I could actually feel Honorable Bernard Odike trying to just tone it down to say nothing is happening, we are fine, the people are with the governor, it is just the opposition trying to heat up
but we knew what we heard. We played the video, we heard the tone. By the way, God bless Rivers, God bless Oshun, God bless Nigeria. And Femi Ojo is my name. We will be back tomorrow, God willing. Let's do whatever we have to do to make others feel better, in as much you have the power to do that. Please follow us on our social media platforms, and also you can have a recap of this program on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Like, subscribe, and share.
My name is Evelyn Ohiolei. Stay tuned for Spring Trends coming after this broadcast.
Right.